Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the iFormula League F2 series brought to you by Butt Kicker. This is round 3 at Zandvoort. I am Anthony Wallace, accompanied by Rob Slider.
How you doing, Anthony? It is a beautiful day here in the Dutch town. We are at Circuit Park Zandvoort for another edition, and it's going to be a fast-paced race. 47 laps the distance today, and we have got a nice field of drivers lining up in free practice.
Yeah, Rob, if the race is anything like the free practice has been today, it's going to be exciting. We have a lot of close times. Really competitive field here today, it appears.
Yeah, currently on the top of the charts, James Miller is up there with Lewis Archer just behind him, currently on track. Lewis Archer trying to make one more spot up to get the top point. Lewis Archer, your winner at the Nürburgring last week, looking to make it 2 in a row. See if he can get it done today.
He's probably going to be looking for a little easier week. He hopes this week at least. Had a lot of competition last week. Doesn't look like James is going to make it easy, though.
No, and a lot of this field is not going to make it easy. Ivan Baukamp right there running in third. Very, very quick. As you see, Lewis Archer just now takes fast time with a 1:22.52. He's going to take the fast time here in practice. But Ivan Baukamp there sitting in third. He is a very fast competitor. As you see him crashing into a wall just as we go over to him. So yeah, Baukamp is very fast. Chris Springer looks to be fairly fast. He's a normal F3 driver coming up. So definitely going to have a little bit of competition today. As we come into round number 3, we're going to take a look here and show you the constructors standings. Turning Point currently up top with 62 points, having some great finishes with Don Day coming out with a win at Monza. The Coolworks F2 team currently trailing with 57 points, and Orion Racing there on the podium for constructors. When we go over and take a look at our drivers' standings, you see currently after 2 rounds, Don Day is up top with a very small lead over Chris Byram, who's actually not racing this week. So he's going to lose a few points on Don Day. But Lewis Archer there just like 7 or 8 points behind the lead currently. So Lewis Archer trying to make up a lot of ground on that championship today. See if he can actually get anything done.
And if these practice times are anything to judge by, I think he has a chance of really evening the point standings after this one. But again, this is just practice. We'll have qualifying coming up, and we'll see what their real speed is, and then of course the future we're ready for.
Yeah, free practice still going on. 53 minutes completed, 1 hour scheduled, so just under 7 minutes left in free practice. Many of the drivers out on track. As you see, Alexander Shanna trying to put some laps down, currently 7th on the board in that Lumos
like
Esports entry.
He's definitely got a little more speed, I believe, in him, so I think we'll see him up on the upper numbers, maybe in qualifying.
And the thing with this free practice is you get some drivers that have been practicing, race pace all week, and now they're, just doing some qualifying trim practice, in practice here. And then you got other drivers that are actually trying to do race pace and maybe fuel mileage in practice. So you never actually know what these guys have until that green flag goes and the lights go out. As Shana hits a barrier and gets a little bit loose. Our 4th place driver, Chris Springer, out on the racetrack. First appearance in the F2 division for this land.
He was extremely fast last week in the F3 race. Had a little bad luck, set him back in the field, but he ran, I believe, the fastest lap of the race last week.
That he did. He did get that 1 bonus point for the fastest lap of the race. Gonna try it out here in F2 and try to take on Lewis Archer and Alexander Shanna for the F2 win today. Few other drivers coming in today to take the F2 challenge. Matt Turner in the number 23 machine is going to be coming on in a coup de work seat, trying to put some points on the board for that team while Chris Byram is away.
And Matt Turner has proved to be consistent with some speed in the F3 series. He ran pretty well at Monza. Fought hard for 5th to 6th place. Had a little bad luck set him back, but he's been consistently fast.
And you
We
want to
also
talk
have Nick
about
Marshall.
you want to talk about bad luck for Matt Turner. We saw him at Nürburgring, I believe it was the first or second lap. Someone got into him, sent him straight into the fence. I think he's got the hardest wreck we've seen in the iFormula League so far. So good to see Matt Turner back in the saddle, trying out the F2, currently in 10th position.
I think he might have just moved up a spot, so he's gaining a little speed. That's not going to pick up any time there, but he'll reset and get back out there.
And there's Nick Marshall, another one of our F3 drivers making his F2 debut.
I actually ran with Nick first race of the season at Monza in the F3 series, and we both started from the back. I worked my way through the field with him, and he's a pretty consistent driver as well.
Less than 4 minutes remaining here in free practice. Lewis Archer currently at the top. James Miller trying to chase him down.
I believe his last lap was about a second off, so
currently his fastest lap is a 122.92, with Archer's being a 122.52. So currently his fastest lap still 4/10 off Archer's fastest lap. We'll see if he can pick it up here in practice or if he is saving something for qualifying. Definitely on a flying lap at the moment. See if he can pick it up. And he does not. A 124.743 for Miller. Not going to be enough to knock Archer off the top spot. We've got Ivan Baukamp. He's currently third fastest in free practice.
heading down into turn 1. One of the few passing zones, in my opinion, for this week. You have to really get a run down the straight. Dangerous turn 1 if you lock them up.
Yeah, very dangerous. Another dangerous turn here is turn number 7. Depending on what kind of downforce these guys are running, turn 7 is almost a wide open corner. It's a very fast downhill corner, which can really catch you out. Right there, as you see Baukamp going through turn number 7, executes it flawlessly. That's definitely going to be a spot we're going to see some issues happen. We saw last year in the F3 race, Lewis Archer leading the race, went off track there on the restart after the safety car on the first lap, and it definitely hindered his ability to win the race here. So we'll have to keep an eye on turn 7 and, like you said, turn number 1 at the beginning of the race. Could cut some people off guard.
Yeah, I believe 12 and 13 are also somewhat treacherous. If you come out of 12 a little too hot, that apron waiting to take you right into the gravel.
Taking a look now at the Orion entry, Eli Cannon, currently 7th quick with a 123.696.
This team needs a big day in the points. I believe they're sitting 3rd, and if they can get a podium or pull out the win here, it could really pull them back up there in the standings.
And you see Eli Cannon making a practice pit road entry. Definitely going to be something you're going to want to practice, is making sure you know how to get onto this pit road, because it's big penalties if you're speeding. And you've seen how tight that pit road is. One little mistake and you could be bending up some iron. Looks like Alexander Shanna's moving his way up the board a little bit. Currently 6th place in free practice with 20 seconds left to go. We'll come back.
One more lap here.
Not going to be able to get, he'll get that lap in, but not going to get another lap here in practice. Before we jump over to qualifying, let's just give you all one more reminder of our constructors standings here, with Turning Point out front in them pink cars, and the Cuda Works F2 team trailing by about 7 points. So definitely looking to make up on, and like you said, Orion Racing definitely needing some good points today. Currently running 3rd, but you see James Malaire and Alexander Shanna in that Lumos Esports. Those two are very fast, looking to get some points on the board for them as well. And when it comes to our drivers, Don Day looking to have another good day for him. Chris Byram's gone, so Lewis Archer, Louis Collin, and Eli Cannon there are in your top 5, going to be looking to try to move up and take advantage of Byram not being here today. But as we are getting ready, cars getting on track for qualifying, and it ought to make things very, very interesting, as we got Alexander Shanna on track right now. I believe about half of our drivers currently on their outlaps.
Could be a busy first couple of laps of qualifying here. Some guys choose to stay in, let the track rubber up a little more. Maybe last second setup changes. These guys are getting at it early.
And I believe they're not on their outlap. I believe this is going to be a time lap for Shanna. Maybe not. Looks like actually that is going to be his first full lap. Looks like Matt Turner currently just a little bit ahead of him on his first lap as well.
Looks like he's got a fairly clean lap so far here. Going into the wide open part of the track. Just full throttle up the hill here.
And into that turn number 7, he gets it a little bit wide. He's going to have to get off the throttle. That's not going to be a very good lap for Shanna.
A little close to the dirt. That can end your afternoon early.
Yeah, especially
This is the trickiest part of the track for me personally, with all the lateral momentum you carry into what is basically a flat section of corners.
And that spot where you've seen him go off the track, if you go off into the dirt there, just about 10 feet into that grass, there's a big bump that'll really dent the bottom of your car, and it'll send you flying in the air, and you have no clue where you're going. So it's very crucial to not go off track at that point in the racetrack, because it will really mess up your day really quick. It's not just like going off in the grass just a little bit. And as we've got time starting to come in, Grabowski currently out front, Turner in second, and Shanna's going to come up third.
Yeah, looked like that running wide hurt his lap time on that one.
Here's Don Day rocking a different colored paint scheme today. Not sure exactly what is going on with that, but Don Day putting in his first lap. He's going to be second quickest.
The livery working for him. Got him up there in P2.
James Malaire gets up to second. And Lewis Archer is on his first lap. Let's take a little ride with Lewis and see kind of what he sees a little bit.
tricky corner here. You really want to get a good exit. One of the few straight points on the course.
This is a really tricky corner here too. You got a downshift, get over for that right, and you got a long sweeping left, a little bumpy on the inside, and then you really want to get the throttle down to get a good run down this straightaway here.
You want to run it right up to that curve, but not too far, as it'll grab you and take you away if you give it too much. But looks like you had a good exit.
And good enough for 9th quick so far.
These times will come down as they burn off a little fuel a lot of times. To warm up the tires, you put a few extra laps of fuel in the car, you burn it off, your tires warm up, rubber down the track a little bit, and then the times really start to come in.
You see James Malaire trying to pick up his time, as we see Chris Springer just took 2nd place with a 1:23 flat right behind Grabowski. Malaire not gonna better his time there on that lap. Alexander Shanna currently in 8th position, coming around the last sector. Oh, it looks like that was Steve Bunting possibly, or Nicholas Marshall, that gets in the way of Alexander Shanna. That's going to end his qualifying run right there.
Need to go back and see what happened there, as one of the BE boys lost control of it. Shanna's got a tow back to the pits. He's coming out for another out lap.
Looks like Chris Springer had an issue on his lap as well.
It's a tricky section of the track where you're trying to put down the throttle while you're still turning a little bit.
Shanna back on his out lap. There's Steve Grabowski. He is the new CUDA driving school entry. Currently on top of the charts with a 1:22.311. Chris Springer right behind him, but about 7/10 slower than Grabowski. So Grabowski's got some speed that some of these other drivers just haven't quite found yet.
Yeah, I suspect we'll see Springer and we'll see Shauna, and we have Lewis Archer still yet to post a really flying lap. So we'll see if they can contend with that 22.3 there. But I think they might have something for him.
Now, you also have to remember these F2 cars do have DRS, and they have unlimited uses here in qualifying. It's only in the race where they have the 8 pushes of DRS. So it could just possibly be that Grabowski is using his DRS all the way around the track as much as he can, and the other drivers aren't really just pushing it too hard. So it ought to be interesting to see what the last 5 or so minutes of qualifying actually look like when drivers really push to try to get that last spot on the grid. Here's Anton Knutson in the Orion Racing entry. He's currently running in 5th position on the grid, and Lewis Archer just puts down a nice lap, moving himself up to 2nd position with a 1:22.834, still a half a second off, and Malaire moves back up above Archer.
They ran almost the same time.
An 8:34 to 8:28.
So you round up, that's practically the same lap. These guys are.
That is within a human hair of each other. Very, very close times between Malaire and Archer. But Grabowski's still a half a second over top of these guys. Have to see if he can hold on to that spot, or if Archer, getting a little bit loose there, is going to be able to knock him down, as Chris Springer puts down his fastest lap of qualifying. Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. It seems like we have
Steve
a little
coming back
issue
out on his
going
out
on.
lap. See if he can improve. He sees these other guys encroaching upon his time. Hopefully he gets out there and lays down another solid lap.
Can you hear me?
Anton Knudsen getting pushed down a few positions. I got a little lock up there into turn 1. Down into this hard braking hairpin. Early throttle, get a little loose up the hill to the flat out section of the course.
Can you hear me?
I've got you.
Okay, we are experiencing some technical difficulties at the moment. Not sure exactly what is going on.
Oh, Archer a little loose coming out of that section of corners.
So yeah, while we're taking a little break, we're having some technical difficulties on this side of things. Looks like iRacing kicked us out, so we will come back in just a moment with the end of qualifying and the beginning of the race. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about the technical difficulties we've been having. Not sure exactly what happened there, but we are back. Qualifying still going on. Almost 14 minutes through. Steve Grabowski still up at the top of the charts with a 1:22.311. Lewis Archer getting a little bit closer with a 1:22.521, and Miller not letting him get away with a 1:22.657. So the top of the grid really showing the speed right now. That's really interesting to look at. One thing we do want to just take a note of, as you see, Ivan Baukamp is not qualifying during this qualifying session. due to what happened in a couple things on track in the first part of the race. Ivan Baukamp will be starting from pit lane, and he'll be also receiving a drive-through penalty at the start of the race due to a few things that happened, like I said, on the first couple races of the season. Other than that, there are no other penalties to be served in this race for the F2 division. The F3 division, there will be a couple penalties for a couple drivers on that race too, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And we'll be interested to see if Ivan Baukamp can work his way back up into the points and have himself a good spot after incurring a penalty from yesterday. As you see Chris Springer losing control of his vehicle.
And I might add, while we were away, we had a new addition. Caitlin Height joined the race and has been laying down some outlaps. Had a big accident going through one of the corners and backed it into the gravel and the wall a bit. So not yet laying down a time, but from the midweek practice had a lot of speed, so expect to see her up there.
And there's
first lap.
There it is, 1:24.189. So a little bit of work to do, about 2 seconds she needs to pick up in order to grab that top spot. Definitely going to be digging for the next 9 minutes of qualifying that we have remaining.
So far, a very fast group, though. It's not going to be easy for Ivan to come back from that penalty. He'll be starting way behind, but he's got the speed. I suspect he'll pick up a spot or two.
Lewis Archer on another flying lap right now. Can he pick it up? Oh, as he sees one car spinning in front of him, that's going to stop his outlap. That's Daniel Thomas. Daniel Thomas in the Cuda Evo car, just getting a little bit loose, getting that grass, and just couldn't get her load up and off the track. That's going to mess up Lewis Archer's lap time there.
Suspect that won't be the last time we see a car go into the grass there. That downhill lateral corner really just wants to pull you into the dirt.
Oh, good.
Caitlin dropping a hot lap here, getting into P5 with a 1:23.1.
And what a lap that was, moving them fast. Can she knock down the top spot?
Took that one a little wide, got a little loose coming up the hill.
It's her first ever entry into the iFormula League. Jumping straight into the Formula 2 cars this weekend. Should see her racing in the F3 division tomorrow as well, but wanted to come and try her hand here at Zandvoort. Looks a little wide there on that corner.
Looks like that was a little better right up to the outside of the exit. Very good chicane there.
And she didn't like it. She's stopping it right there.
May have been the end of a fuel run. Solid run though, P5.
Louise Collin in that turning point. Number 24 machine currently sitting 9th on the grid. Trying to pick up a few spots. Turning point currently in the top of the Constructors Series at the moment. But Colin and Day both 9th and 11th on the grid right now. So Turning Point going to have a little bit of work to do if they want to stay on top of the Lewis Archer and Matt Turner Cuda Evo or Cuda Works F2 team. In the Constructors, you see Lewis having a little bit of issue there coming out of turn number 1. Definitely going to throw some people off today.
We have about 6 minutes of quality left. So hopefully he's got enough fuel for another lap or two after this one. Maybe throw down some competitive times. Right now he's letting Lewis Archer potentially grab some points from their championship.
Talked about Daniel Thomas. We see him go off track once more. Having a rough time here, putting a good clean lap in here at Zandvoort. He's going to try it one more time with 5 minutes left to go in qualifying.
Runs a little wide. Definitely going to hurt his time there. I don't think he'll be improving.
Well, he is sitting at a 124.144, so even one little corner, I feel like he can still pick up some time as Nick Marshall finally gets his first lap in at a 128.827. Chris Springer puts in his fastest lap time. He's going to be in fourth with a 122.694, just shy of that third place position.
I expect a great battle between James and Chris. Their times have been extremely close. We have Alexander Shauna. Looks like he's on his first lap out. See what kind of times he can post here.
And Miller, 123.052. Not going to be enough to move him up the board. Got a couple more laps. With 4 laps to go, it looks like these guys got maybe 3 more laps that they can put in the books. So we should see some guys coming out on their outlaps. Grabowski and Archer both on an outlap right now, as we see one of the turning point cars spun around.
This will be a solid lap here by James.
He's just got to hope that he doesn't get another competitor spinning out or something in front of him like we've seen with Shanna and Archer. I'm sure that's been a couple reasons why they haven't gotten as close to Grabowski as they were hoping to. Very, very tight track here at Zandvoort.
It's a good series of corners. Pretty good exit down the straight. See what time he can post.
A 122.646. That's going to be his fastest lap of qualifying. Still not good enough to beat out Lewis Archer for second. He's going to have one more go at it. Almost goes off track and locks up. I don't think that's going to be enough for him. Chris Springer is out, but he's got a little bit of traffic on him. Might give him a little bit of a tow, depending on where he's at. James Miller goes to the pit.
Oh, he lost it. He lost it. He might have a chance to get one more flying lap.
Grabowski gets off. He's not going to have another chance.
Lewis Archer may be our best shot at getting another pole here.
Still 0.3 of a second off the leader. Copy that, 0.2 of a second off. That's not a whole lot of time to make up, and Archer is going to mess it up there. Eli Cannon on a lap right now for Orion. Currently 6th on the board. Can he pick it up as he's coming around the last set of corners? He needs 0.2 to take down Caitlin Height. No, he's not going to do it. 123.497, 0.3 off. Not going to happen. He's going to call it right there. Lewis Archer coming around for his lap. And that's going to be no good. He's going to get one more here, though. Looks like we got a few drivers on and out lap. Lewis Archer is going to get one more lap. James Miller on an outlap. Chris Springer on an outlap. Caitlin Height on a flying lap. Coming out of turn, last turn there. Had a little bit of a tow. 1:23.156. Almost fast enough to get her time a little quicker, but not able to do it there.
Still a very respectable 5th place for the newcomer.
Daniel Thomas trying to put down a good lap. He's had a rough go here in qualifying. Lots of off tracks as he gets really loose, about loses a nice save for the 96 machine.
All right, last chance for some people to get some times in here. You got the checkered flag, 2 minutes remaining.
That is correct. Checkered flag is out. Louise Collin coming into the pits. Daniel Thomas going to be our next driver to cross the stripe. 5 cars left on, check that, 4 cars left on racetrack. Daniel Thomas is not going to better his time. Caitlin Height coming around. Height's not going to do it.
I think that would be P5 for her.
Next up to come across is James Malaire. And he does get a faster lap. It's his fastest lap of qualifying. Not going to be able to do it though. Still third. Alexander Shanna comes across the line. The last car on the track. And Shanna is not going to better his time. So Steve Grabowski is going to take your provisional pole for the Zandvoort Grand Prix.
What's your takeaway from our extremely competitive qualifying here, Rob?
It tells me that there's going to be a lot that goes on. There's a lot that can happen from cars spinning out and getting kind of in the way of your leader, to just simply the fact that our fast guys are all within just a couple tenths of each other. So it should be really, really interesting. If we've got them, I think we've got our qualifying results. Steve Grabowski coming out on top. Lewis Archer going to be second position. James Malaire running off third. Chris Springer coming out fourth. Caitlin Height in her first IFL appearance coming fifth. Eli Cannon rolling off sixth with Matt Turner seventh. Anton Knutson and Louis Colin rounding out your top 10. Don Day, Daniel Thomas in row number 6. Row number 7 is Steve Bunting and Nick Marshall, and Ivan Baukamp, who was not allowed to qualify, going to be starting from the pits and getting a drive-through penalty. So as the cars start to grid up, actually we're going to get a 5-minute warm-up. I always forget about that warm-up before we go racing. So there is your grid. We're going to get a few minutes here of just warming up, and we will get lights out here very shortly.
Daniel Thomas here on a out lap, hoping to get together whatever he was losing in qualifying. Seemed to have a rough go of it.
Well, we got a moment. Let's just take a look at what the conditions are like here today. 70-degree ambient temperature with the track temperature being 80 degrees. So it is a little bit warm for these guys, but overall it's not a super hot racetrack. We'll be doing 47 laps here for round number 3. And it ought to be a very, very, very interesting race. This track is just so tight. It's so hard to pass. We should see some really, really good action here. Half the cars currently on the racetrack.
I think our greatest chance for passing in the action on the track today will be coming out of the final corner, corner 13. who can get a good exit, get the toe down the straightaway, and late braking into turn 1. But not a lot of room for passing. That one and maybe the turn 7 take some errors, some opportunities presented there. I think we'll see a lot of people use their fast repair today. They get one fast repair.
Yeah, that might be so. And then honestly, it could be that a lot of this race is attrition. Surviving turn 1 and then surviving turn 7 and then just surviving your own self. You're your biggest enemy, especially with these F2 cars. You can get tires overheated, you can overdrive them. They're definitely something to handle. So with a bunch of new cars here in the field and a bunch of seasoned veterans in these cars from last year racing the F3, it ought to be really interesting to see what happens with the whole mix tonight.
Yeah, and as you were pointing out earlier, another potential catastrophe, pit road. This is one of the harder pit road entries I've seen in iRacing. You're really coming out of a fast corner. You have to get on the brakes. Hard right, slow down, pit limiter. Got to find your box. And the exit of pit road as well. It's short, straight into turn 1. Not a lot of opportunity for you to get up to speed. You really have to watch your mirrors.
Yeah, pit road. We got to take one pit stop for tires in this series. So we will definitely be seeing some action on pit road. And speeding on pit road, I believe, is a 45-second penalty. So even if you're just a mile or two over the speed limit coming on the pit road and it catches you, that it does dish out a hefty penalty for you. These guys also have what's called, off tracks or incident points. They get 16 a race, and if they get more than those, as we see,
we have
Steve
an accident in turn 1.
Getting into Lewis Archer in turn number 1. If you see stuff like that, if they do that too many times, they'll get a pass-through penalty, and that will definitely take a lot of time off their stuff too. So trying to keep it clean and green is gonna be the goal today.
It's one of the harder corners to do it in. You want to make a move, you want to go in a little harder than the guy in front of you, but we'll have a difference of tires after the pit stops, different fuel settings. Carry a little too much speed in there, you take yourself and the guy in front of you out. Nobody likes that. This looks like the end of practice. Getting ready for the grid.
And we are going to grid it up. It's going to be ready. There is your grid. Steve Grabowski, Lewis Archer, James Molaire, Chris Springer, Caitlin Height, Eli Cannon, Matt Turner, Anton Knutson, Lewis Collin, Alexander Shanna, Don Day, and Daniel Thomas, Steve Bunting, and Nick Marshall, and then Ivan Baukamp. So definitely a big grid here today. Getting ready for lights out.
This should be as exciting as it can be a first corner. It can be hectic. Everyone trying to make as much opportunity as they can. Cold tires.
Just waiting for all the cars to step onto the grid. Looks like we're waiting for Chris Springer.
You must be as nervous as I am, Rob.
You can definitely feel the tension in the air. These guys are getting ready to go. Lights are on. Lights out. We're racing here at Zandvoort. Lewis Archer gets a horrible start. Molaire gets a great start going into turn number 1.
Oh, we have a big collision.
Big problems in the back.
That'll be a safety car for sure.
And the safety car comes out. Not sure what happened there. We're going to have to go back. It looks like Chris Springer, Steve Bunting, Nick Marshall, Ivan Baukamp, all these drivers in there. It looks like Daniel Thomas went off track first. It looks like it was actually further ahead of him with the Orion racing. We'll have to see.
It looks like both the Orion guys were involved. That's
what
not
happened
good for
with
their
Chris
potential.
Springer. They came out of the pits, and it was already happening in front of them. So not exactly sure what happened. Steve Bunting was in that. We'll see if we can see from him.
It's already happening by the time they get there.
It looks like it was possibly Anton Knutson. Looks like Anton Knutson got into the CUDA car there. I believe that was Matt Turner. And Knutson was going to be the cause of that caution, getting everybody bunched back up. So now...
Looked like it got his teammate involved there, both Orion cars.
Yeah, a tough break for the Orion entries early on. Matt Turner in the F2 for his first race. Tough break for him, and a tough start. But that's the thing. It happened on turn 1. We know incidents happen on turn 1. And we have got another 45 laps to go. So you still have a chance. Like you said, you've got that fast repair. Now we got a chance to try to get everybody settled back down, back into rhythm. We're going to be having a rolling start, single file, so that'll kind of alleviate a little bit of the pressure going into turn 1, and we can really see what the race is going to have in store for us. Steve Grabowski currently up front.
Lewis Archer did not get away clean from that start. A little slow. Allowed Caitlin to pick up 2 spots. James Malaire was really contesting Steve going into turn 1, but Steve had the speed on the outside, kept it through the yellow flag.
I don't believe your top drivers got too much damage. Matt Turner did get a little bit. Not sure what the extent of the damage is. You can see a little bit of his rear wing has got a little bit of a dent in it. Same thing with Lewis Archer, so ought to be interesting to see what happens. Looks like he's got quite a bit of damage on that rear wing. So we'll see who actually comes to pit road and fixes damage here, or if people are going to try to stay out and see what they've got. But that was definitely quite a few cars getting some damage. Looks like about 7 or 8 drivers actually involved in the wreck on turn 1.
Yeah, I believe that wing damage to the 23 there, Matt Turner, definitely going to require some repair. Might have to use that fast repair here on lap 1. Curious to know what happened to Lewis Archer on that start.
Yeah, Lewis is usually actually pretty good at getting off the line, so not exactly sure what happened. Didn't know if it caught him off guard or what happened there, but definitely a rough start for Lewis Archer, currently in 4th position behind Caitlin Height and James Malaire. So yeah, we're going to be under safety car here. The DRS is something these guys got that we'll have to pay attention to. They get 8 pushes throughout the race, and it opens up their rear wing a little bit and allows air to get in, or air to get through. It allows the less drag and allows them to go a little bit faster. There is a couple long straights here at Zandvoort, but they have a lot of turns in them, so it could be kind of hard for these guys to get a nice tow other than down this front straightaway. And even this front straightaway with these F2 cars is fairly short.
Let's see who all takes the pit road entrance here. Looks like the CUDA guys breeze on by it.
Matt Turner's going to take pit road with Daniel Thomas. He's going to take pit road as well. And a few other guys. Shanna's hitting pit road. Cannon's hitting pit road. So yeah, we have a few drivers there on pit road early on in the race. And this honestly, that safety car into turn 1 really helped out Ivan Baukamp and Chris Springer starting at the front or in the pits. It allowed everybody for them to catch back up. Now Balcamp, all he's got to do is make his pass-through penalty. And honestly, if he was smart, he'd probably be taking his tires right now, so that way he can get his pass-through penalty done when he starts. And then all he's got to do from now on is take fuel, maybe to make it to the end of the race. Not sure exactly if these guys can make it all the way on fuel or not, but definitely a little bit of a sigh of relief for Balcamp there in the Cuda Evo car.
Yeah, certainly negates that starting penalty there and gives him a real chance at some points this afternoon. Let's just see what kind of strategy he uses with that pit stop, as you were saying.
We've got some actual, this is going to make the start interesting. We've got some fast guys in the back of the pack. Alexander Shanna's in the back, Matt Turner's back here, Eli Cannon at the back of the pack right now after that incident. So we're going to have some good battles coming up with a mix of guys all over this field right now.
And several of those fast contenders here, they don't have option of fast repair, so this is the car they get for the rest of the race, so they're really going to have to be careful.
Yeah, that is for sure. Another 44 laps to go. And it looks like the light is out on the pace car, so we might be going green this time by. Yeah, lights are out on the pace car, so I think this is our one to go. Should be going back racing in just a moment. Steve Grabowski out front of James Miller and Caitlin Height. Lewis Archer in fourth place after a rough start, but we've seen what that number 46 machine can do.
It's going to be looking to make up for that mistake on the start here with a rolling start and get a good angle into turn one with that position back on Caitlin. Him and James ran basically the same qualifying lap, so it's going to be tough getting around him. And you know Steve Grabowski, he wants James, Caitlin, and Lewis to really tangle it up and get racing with each other so we can try to ride off into the sunset and get some space. Maybe save those DRS uses for the end of the race.
The problem with that is James Miller, Height, and Archer are not going to let Grabowski get too far away. Grabowski did have some time, some speed that you guys just couldn't find, so he may pull a little bit, but we're going to find out here in just a moment. Grabowski's going to go a little bit slower, and that pace car is going to pull off after this next turn, and we're going to get going back racing.
Really going to give himself an opportunity to pick when they start. Really backing him up. Looking for the pace car to dip away. There goes the safety car.
And he does a little bit of a weave to get him off their course and hits the throttle. Caitlin Height takes great advantage of this one. She's going to move past Shayna.
Archer gets the door shut on him coming out of turn one here. Still P4.
Clean and green through the first turn.
Lewis Archer falling back.
Lewis Archer crashed. What happened with Lewis Archer? We've seen some smoke. Oh, Lewis Archer gets on the brakes hard.
Just sent it too hard into that corner.
Nobody hits him.
You guys.
And the safety car is not out. So Lewis Archer way back to 12th right now. Grabowski in the lead. Caitlin Height trying to chase him down. Right now 1 second behind. Got a battle between Chris Springer, and it looks like Matt Turner. Springer's going to take that spot away from Turner.
Springer in a hurry to move up through the order here after starting in the pits. Taking advantage of that lucky break he got with the safety car. Caitlin Height falling back here.
On a move. Where did Colin come from? Just took the spot from Miller. Caitlin Height falls back. What happened to Caitlin Height?
I believe we have an incident. Was Colin involved?
Gets into the gravel and spins it out right in the middle of the racetrack. I don't think anybody gets her, but definitely going to slow her down.
That's that curb I was talking about before the race. It just takes you going a little wide in that corner. You get on that curb and it doesn't let go.
James Miller did a great job of avoiding her spinning right across the racetrack. He does lose his spot to Luis Collin, but he keeps his car intact, ready for another go. And as we see the craziness happen, look who is up into 4th place already.
Don Day making up for that slow qualifying day.
That is for sure. And that's that speed we were talking about earlier, that you never know what people are actually doing in their practice and in their qualifying runs and what speed they actually have until the race drops. And
under a little pressure from Springer, though.
Yeah, Springer is very fast, making his debut here in the F2, putting a little bit of pressure on Don Day for 4th position.
Meanwhile, Steve Grabowski is trying to gap the field as much as he can, taking advantage of the chaos.
Lewis Archer trying to make his way back up. He's got Cannon and Shanna right in front of him. And Cannon makes a hard move to the inside on Shanna. He's going to take that back. And those two are going to battle side by side up the long hill. Cannon's going to take that spot. But he gets into the dirt. Now Shanna goes high.
Should have a better exit here. Oh, he got a little apron, got a little loose. Try to grab that toe through the flat out portion of the course. Under attack from Lewis Archer, though.
Great battle for 8th, 9th, and 10th. Or 7th, 8th, and 9th, sorry. Cannon trying to pull away. Archer's going to look to the inside of Shanna.
Shanna's just got more speed from the outside here, but Archer may try to cut the apex here, get a good launch. I think he does. He's got his toe. We set him up for this turn 12.
He is going to look down to the inside. Will Shanna give him room? Shanna's going to hold it and keep the inside for this one, but Archer's got the throttle down. Archer's going to take it. He's going to start pulling away. James Miller under fire from Chris Springer now. Springer has gotten past Don Day.
And they're both not too far off Lewis Collin here.
Yeah, they are catching Collin, but Springer is putting that pressure on Miller. And when Miller, he's currently running in 3rd. He's got a good running spot right now. But when you're trying to chase somebody down and hit your marks and do all that, having someone pop up behind your mirrors here and there really can throw your focus off just a little bit and allow that guy in front of you to get away and make you start focusing more on defensive driving.
Especially a track like this where a little error can cost you a lot of time in these high-speed corners and a tight chicane. But he's closing for sure. See if he can set him up for a pass down the straightaway. It all starts going into the chicane. You can get a good exit here. Set him up for 12, 13. I think Malaria had a little better chicane.
So I believe Ivan Baukamp has served his penalty. I'm not exactly sure. Trying to take a look at it. He's currently running 11th position. Not sure if I actually seen a pass-through penalty yet. He was on pit lane for 21.47 seconds. So that could have been his pass-through penalty as he works his way up in the 10th position. We'll have to see if that all got sorted out and taken care of.
He's already in the points. If he doesn't have to stop again, that could be pretty big for his day.
That is for sure.
Keep it on track. I think he's got pace.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's still going to have to stop one more time for tires. So we'll have to see what that happens there. Springer, Miller, and Collin just going at it up front for positions 2, 3, and 4. They better be careful, though, because Don Day back there in the red machine today, he's in 5th. He likes to take advantage of opportunities, as we've seen at Monza. Oh, and James Miller
runs
goes
wide.
off, and he gets into Springer, and they go around. That's got to be a caution car. That has got to be a caution, a safety car. We'll see 2 cars going off, heavy damage. James Miller and Springer, no safety car coming out. Springer with some very heavy damage.
The accident took them off course, so maybe that's why we didn't see a safety car, but the location for Springer, if there's any silver lining, it's that it happened coming right to the pit road, so he doesn't have to tow.
That is for sure. That is going to give Colin some breathing room. But Grabowski somehow pulling away almost 7 seconds now ahead of Lewis Collin in 2nd.
He is clean track. No need to push. He can save those DRS uses. Oh, we have a car off in the back. Looks like potentially Ivan Balkamp. Somebody off here.
Looks like Daniel Thomas had an issue in his number 96 Cuda Evo machine. Just a little too hot and really sends it into the wall. That is definitely going to give him some serious damage. Going to have to work that thing back to the pit lane.
Stuff day just keeps getting tougher.
It looks like Daniel Thomas is in the pit now. Don Day also went into the pits. So not sure what Don Day was doing, but Day just coming out of the pits right now.
Maybe this was a scheduled stop. Maybe he started a little low on fuel to take advantage of the lighter car.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he has to come and stop again. Currently, fastest car on track is the one, the only, Lewis Archer in the number 46 Cuda Works machine. Currently in 5th with a fast time of 1:23.953. Currently the fastest lap of the race. He's trying to chase down Eli Cannon there right in front of him.
You should get him in a lap or 2 time.
Archer had a really rough start to this race. Made it to where he had a lot of ground to make up. But he's currently back up in 5th position, trying to chase down Cannon for 4th. Matt Turner in the number 23 machine, he had some tough luck at Nürburgring last week, and he's currently having some pretty good luck. Running 3rd place right now, kind of in his own air. See, Luis Collin just went into turn 1 as he was coming out of the last turn, so he's got some gap back up to Collin and some gap back to Archer and Cannon as Archer makes a move on Cannon into turn 1. Move Lewis Archer up to 4th position.
Got him around the outside, it appeared. Archer looks to track down Matt Turner.
See that
a little
pass
lockup from Eli.
actually happened. Cannon guarded the inside and Lewis just took the outside and sent it around. So great overtake by that number 46. Malaire trying to catch back up after the incidents that he had. Just turned the fastest lap of the race with a 1:23.341.
It's got to make it tough on Eli. He's trying to keep Archer from running away from him. Doing a decent job at staying fairly close. Looks like we can have Caitlin Height in the back, trying to make a move on Anton Knudsen. About a half second back. She's trying to rebound from that big accident she had earlier in the race.
Yeah, big problems for Height. She just went off track a little bit, lost a bunch of time trying to get it back. See Chris Springer coming back, taking a position from Marshall. And we got big stuff going on here. Malaire trying to take 5th from Cannon. Cannon saw Lewis use the outside, and he's going to try to use the outside this time, but he's not going to be able to make it happen as Miller's going to take that spot just before the roundabout there.
Oh, Cannon loses it.
Cannon goes sideways.
I think he kept it off the wall, though. He's got to lock the brakes for the
But
guys.
we got cars coming. This could be a safety car if he can't get this thing turned around. He's right in the middle of the racetrack. Losing a lot of time.
He's got a little window. He's got it going the right way again.
Tough break for Eli Cannon. Anton Knutson under fire from Caitlin Height. And Matt Turner has an issue on track. He's falling back. Matt Turner under pressure from Don Day. And he just gets loose there. Don misses him, everybody misses him, and he keeps it going back straight.
Those corners are going to give people trouble the entire race. They're flat, a lot of lateral momentum, and you really need to throttle it out of there until you get the car straight. If you put too much throttle and you still have the wheel turn, it's just going to spin you out there towards the inside.
And it looks like Nick Marshall having some issues on his own. See what happened with Nick. Looks like he just gets it and spins her around, doesn't hit nothing, and keeps her going back the right direction. But I don't know if this is tires getting overheated or what this is, but we're seeing a lot of stuff going on right now. Chris Springer making a move on Eli Cannon right now. And Lewis Archer under fire from James Miller now. Miller's got the fastest lap of the race so far. This is a battle for P3.
What a rebound by Lewis Archer, though. Looked like he was starting poorly this race. Moved on back. Went back a couple of times. He's already back up to the podium position.
Yeah, very, very nice to see. And if you look down in 6th place, Ivan Baukamp is coming back as well. He's got himself in a nice spot in the points so far. He's working at chasing Alexander Shannon down. You can see Shannon there just about a second and a half in front of him. So he is working his way back up. I'm pretty sure he got his penalty in. Ivan's not really one to mess around. I'm sure he just got it done. He's not waiting for the end of the race to do it or anything. I'm sure he just got it done at the beginning. And it looks like James Miller crashed. A problem with James Miller chasing down Lewis Archer.
Archer locked it up a little.
Oh, and Miller almost gets it sideways, locks it up, and almost gets into Don Day. Day gets in the grass and into the wall to avoid him. Tough break for Day. Not sure what happened with him, but he's way back on the grid, currently 14th right now, and going fairly slow. So tough break for Don Day so far.
I think he has damage. He'll probably have to visit pit road.
We've got a
doing
battle
well
between Knutson, Turner, and Height. All for
This battle's
6th,
been
7th,
going
and
on
8th.
several laps here. Caitlin has caught him, but she can't get around him.
And these guys are all catching Ivan Baukamp. As Knutson's going to look to the inside of Turner. No fight there. Move Knutson up to 6th position, but Turner's going to try to battle back up the hill.
Turner's having a very good race, but I think these two have speed on him. He's going to hold his ground and try and keep up positions he can. Knutson wants to pull away while he's got a break from Caitlin.
Yeah, Caitlin right on Turner's behind now. Is Turner going to lose another spot to Caitlin Height?
Another battling update on Don Day. Looks like he has made his repairs and he's left pit road and rejoined back in the 14th position.
Height going to make a move. Trying to do it on the outside, so she has the inside in this next corner. And she gives a little tap to Matt Turner. They're going to make a little bit of contact. They're going to both keep it straight, but Height's going to get in front of Turner after that contact.
Aggressive move, but she made the corner work. Turner pinched her a little bit, just real tight racing. She sets her sights on Anton Knutson.
Ivan Baukamp up to 5th now. Making his way. Can he catch Malaire and Archer? He's got about 8 seconds up to Malaire. Got a little ways to go. Currently out front of this one, leading every lap. Steve Grabowski for Century. No, that's not Century Motorsports. He is for the Cooter Racing School. Currently out front of Lewis Collin, 18 seconds ahead of Collin. So putting on a hurting today. 16 laps complete.
Basically a flawless race.
Yeah, 16 laps complete, and he's got 18 seconds on these guys. That means he's gaining over a second a lap on these drivers, but yet he still does not have the fastest lap, which just tells me he's just being very, very consistent and not making any mistakes.
Little lock up there. What a race we could have if James Malaire wouldn't have had that accident. Took him off track.
Well, don't forget, we still have pit stops. And pit stops can change things up quite a bit, as Caitlin Height is out of the race. It said she was out for a second. Apparently our scoreboard messing up a little bit. Caitlin Height still currently in 7th position.
Occasional connection issue there.
Could be. She's got past Turner and is now chasing down Knutson for 6th place.
Steve Bunting pitting out of 11th.
With 30 laps to go, I have to imagine these guys are getting close to where they can make it on fuel.
So we watch this race. Matt Turner might have his mirror full of Alexander Shanna here soon.
Yeah, Shanna coming up fast. Height not really catching Knutson, but Shanna catching Turner. Turner just not having the pace that all these other guys do.
It'll be a hard defense in a turn 1 here. Let's see if Shanna makes a move. Looks like he wants to.
Shanna had that
like
toe, and he locks up just a little bit. Turner's not going to fight him too hard. He's going to let him go, try to follow him around and get that toe. So move Alexander Shanna up to 8th place. Still a lot of work to do if he wants to get that car up on the podium this afternoon. And look who's made his way up to 2nd. I'm not exactly sure how this happened, but Lewis Archer got past Lewis Collin and is currently running 2nd place.
He is having some kind of race. We're not even halfway and he's already had more of a race than some people have the entire race.
Let's see what
He's
actually
gone to the back,
happened.
gone to the front, went back.
Oh, Anton Knutson and Caitlin Height had an issue. We'll see what happened with Lewis Archer getting past Lewis Collin. Looks like Lewis Collin had an issue in turn 7.
Got the same curb.
Or in the
Caitlin
last
got
turn,
earlier.
yeah. So Lewis Archer up to 2nd. We'll see what happened with Anton Knutson and Caitlin Height They're battling. Height just gets right into Knutson and spins him around.
So maybe he didn't have the exit that she anticipated, or maybe she missed her braking zone, and they both get it gathered up, going the right way again. We'll see if Caitlin has any damage. It's pretty hard contact. She might have nose damage.
Looks like Shanna is still trying to chase her down. That was everything that Alexander Shanna needed. 2 cars in front of him to get into a wreck with each other, and now he's got just a couple seconds up to him. So those two probably have a little bit of damage. I'm not sure if Shanna has any. He gets really loose there in turn number 7. But Shanna might have the upper hand on these guys.
I think he's ran a fairly clean race this race. Stayed out of trouble. Lacking a little bit of pace, but it's taking advantage of other people's problems.
Looks like Steve Bunting and Nicholas Marshall, the 2 teammates, going at it into turn number 1.
I believe Marshall is substituting this race. He would like to gain one more spot, maybe bring home some points.
But right in front of Marshall is Chris Springer, and a very, very stacked group of cars. So definitely a little bit of work to do if he wants to get up there. He's currently 40 seconds behind Chris Springer, so a lot of work to do if he wants to get up in the points today.
It's been a treacherous race, so you never know when.
And it looks like Eli Cannon's having problems once again. Just carries a little too much speed, and we've seen he did the same thing that Daniel Thomas did earlier on in the race. Tough break for that. Looks like Matt Turner's coming to the pits, and Chris Springer's getting by him, so it looks like Matt Turner is taking his first pit stop.
Yeah, it should be just scheduled.
And we still have a battle between Anton Knutson and Caitlin Height. Height gets into the back of Knutson. They spin out, and Knutson gets really, really loose. Height's going to get to the inside.
Both their cars appear to be running well, as they're not exactly pulling away from Alexander Shanna, but he's not catching them too much.
Yeah, so maybe not as much damage as we originally thought.
Caitlin looking to round out or catch up Ivan Beaucamp now that she's cleared Knutson.
Lewis Collin was getting close to Lewis Archer, and then he gets it loose and messes up in the grass. He was getting really close. As you see, Malaire just gets by him now. Really, really tough race for Lewis Collin. He's had a couple mistakes, and it's just dropping him further and further down. Grabowski still out front of Lewis Archer by 22 seconds.
Last update, he was about 18 seconds ahead of Lewis, so he's pulled away a little more. If anybody's going to catch him, I think Archer has a chance. Running basically the same times. Up until last lap, Steve dropped his fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, coming in with a 1:23.381. We'll see what Lewis can come up with and see if he's any faster. And then he's not with a 1:23.942, 0.6 of a second slower than Grabowski on that lap.
And Shanna making some headway here on Knutson.
Yeah, Lewis Collin coming in the pits right now. That's going to move Ivan Beaucamp up to 4th position.
A little spread out here, everybody kind of running their own race.
The only thing that I'm seeing right now that might be an issue, is Ivan Baukamp right now, currently running 4th. It does show that he pit on lap 1 and did a drive-through. It looks like he spent only 21.47 seconds on there, so that looks like a drive-through. But I'm pretty sure drive-thrus need to be served under green flag. So we'll have to see if that's what he actually has, or if he still actually has to serve his drive-through penalty today. We will see. Lewis Archer, your 3rd place contender, currently hitting pit road, coming to get service of his Cuda Works guys. Shanna's still trying to chase down Knutson.
So Knutson's put a little bit of a gap over the last 2 laps.
Now Lewis Archer coming out of the pits, under fire from Caitlin Height. Lewis is going to have those cold tires. Caitlin's got some nice warm tires, so we'll see if Lewis can stay in front, or if Height might have an issue like she did with Knutson and Turner. Looks like Lewis is going to gap her pretty quick.
Yeah, she may be suffering a little damage from that incident she had earlier.
And Lewis in a great spot right now. All he's got to do is put down some fast lap times. Grabowski and Malaire still have to pit, and I believe Ivan Baukamp still has to serve his drive-through penalty. So we will see.
Yeah, I don't see where he's had any other visits to pit road, so if that's the case, he definitely still has to do the drive-through.
So that will put Ivan Baukamp about, looks like another 22 or so seconds behind, which would move him down to about 8th or 9th position when he comes out of the pits.
And Caitlin's not letting Lewis get away here. His tire's coming up to temperature, but she's staying right with him.
Lewis with a little bit of a lock up there.
We have Colin coming back down pit road.
Yep, Height, Grabowski, and Malaire in the top 5 still have to pit. Lewis Archer, your first driver out on racetrack that has pitted.
That battle between Anton Knutson and Alexander Shawn has kind of opened up a little bit as he's pulled away about a second. Both of them, I believe, still have to pit soon, so we'll see how that works out.
Well, as we get 25 laps in here, we're just over halfway. Currently out front, Steve Grabowski in number 48. Cuda Driving School entry. His first race here in the iFormula League. His first race in the Formula 2 division.
We have an accident back with Anton Knutson.
Anton Knutson had a problem. We'll have to go check out and see what happened. Knutson with Shanna trying to chase him down. Gets coming up the hill. And he just gets that curb and spins it out. Really gets into the wall quite hard. Shanna and Springer getting by. Sure, Knutson not very happy with that.
I believe he was a top running Orion entry, so they really needed those points.
Looks like James Malaire, as we go kind of back through our field here, James Malaire, currently our second place driver. He has the fastest lap of the race, but you can see there on the left front, He's got a little bit of front wing damage. Not sure if he used his fast repair yet or not. But
his last lap was right on pace with Steve Grabowski, though, so it might not be hurting him too much.
Or it's hurting him enough to where he cannot catch the leader. It looks like he is gaining a little bit of time on Grabowski, but with that front wing, that's definitely going to be affecting his drive this afternoon. Currently running in third place. I believe he's still got a drive-through penalty, but Ivan Baukamp running in third. Even from not being able to qualify and having to start in the pits, he's having a pretty good run for himself.
If he serves that penalty, he should end up with points today. Been a tough race for several people. Don Day, Daniel Thomas. Big accident set them pretty far back in the field. And we have a leader coming in for pits.
Steve Grabowski coming into the pits. No, but Ivan Baukamp is coming in. Is he going to just do his drive-through right now? Or is he taking his pit stop? Looks like Baukamp's going to take his pit stop. Anton Knutson is also in the pits. Caitlin Height not letting up on Lewis Archer. Having a great drive. Made some contact with a couple cars. Maybe didn't make too many friends, but definitely making some moves on the racetrack. Currently running 4th position. The only problem with this battle right now for Height and Archer for 3rd and 4th is Height hasn't pitted yet and Archer has. So the moment Height pits, Archer's going to get another 20 or so seconds on her, and that's going to be that battle there. So Height has to hope that before she pits, Lewis Archer has an issue and she can kind of get some ground on him before she has to pit.
Yeah, maybe put some pressure in his mirrors, take his eyes off of the apex, run him wide. I'm sure he knows she has to pit, so he shouldn't be stressing too much about it.
James Miller on pit road, yep. And Steve Grabowski still staying out front. Not taking his pit stop yet. Can Lewis Archer gain on James Miller? And Archer's going to take 2nd place.
He'll have a pretty decent gap between himself and Miller.
Well, this is the thing now. Grabowski needs to take a pit stop. And from what I'm seeing, pit lane times are about 30 to something seconds. And actually, it looks like Grabowski did take a pit stop. That's why he is within 20 seconds of Archer. So Grabowski in and out of the pits already. It looks like the only driver that possibly might need to come to pit road that's in the top right now is the number 56, Chris Springer. His last pit stop was on lap number 8. So we'll see if he can make it to the end pitting there or if he will have to pit later on in the race. But the car right behind him is going to be chasing him down. James Miller, he wants that podium spot. He needs that podium spot for his team. And if you look there, that front wing is fixed, so he did use his fast repair on this last lap or this last pit stop, and got that car back to tip-top running order. So look to see Miller chase Springer down here, and possibly have a nice battle for a podium spot.
He's definitely not gonna let Springer back off the corner and save any fuel or catch himself a break. Gonna put the pressure on him in a lap or so.
Looks like Matt Turner moving himself up into the points past Nicholas Marshall. Marshall was running 10th for a minute. Turner took a pit stop, and now Turner's back out in front. Looks like that's a battle for position between Don Day and Nick Marshall.
Day's got a run on him. He was fast earlier up into the top 5. Had that accident.
Never could really quite rebound it. But he's going to get by Marshall and move himself up into 11th. He could possibly still get him some points today if he perseveres. With 18 laps to go now, a lot can still happen. And as you see Nick Marshall going off track there just a little bit. The man of the hour, though, Steve Grabowski, not making any mistakes, keeping a good 20-second gap over Lewis Archer right now. Archer doing everything he can to reel that gap in, but it's staying around 22.3 seconds.
It's making it look easy out there. Not getting a lot of airtime for his sponsors today. Don't talk a lot about him when he's running his own race.
That is for sure. He has come and dominated Zandvoort today. He hasn't made a single mistake that we have seen. Archer doing everything he can. Looks like Archer's gained about a half of a tenth on him in that last lap. So Archer definitely be hard pressed to try to gain 23 seconds in about 17 laps. But anything can happen. One mistake by Grabowski could end it all for him. So definitely in a good position for this race, but definitely not guaranteed anything quite just yet.
Yeah, Lewis Archer, you know he wants that win. He wants to make it up. He's going to be pushing, but he's got to be okay with the second place finish after the day he's had. That cluster on lap 1, turn 1, he was lucky. He wasn't involved with that. Happened right behind him. He lost a few positions though. And then he got set back again with somebody, I think, spinning in front of him.
And the driver that's actually behind him on track right now is probably the one that's had the worst luck out of the race so far today. Lewis Collin, he got through all the stuff at the beginning of the race, was running third, and just on his own, lost quite a bit of ground. Lost almost a full minute of time in the last 20 laps. So a really tough break for Lewis Collin and the Turning Point Racing team. Really hoping for a good finish today. And both those drivers are just struggling to finish in the points right now.
Yeah, I believe his mistake was his own, so those are the ones that stick with you. You know, you get mad if somebody else wrecks you, but if you cause yourself misfortune, then it keeps you up at night.
That is for
He's
sure.
definitely got to be kicking himself over this one.
James Miller still with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:23.033. Currently running fourth, doing everything he can to chase down Chris Springer, but Springer in that third position, putting on a pretty good run for himself. Seen a little bit of issue earlier on in the race, but from starting from pit road, I mean that's a pretty good run for this driver right now.
Yeah, he needs as much time between him and the field as he can get. We're not sure if he can make it in that pit stop from lap 8, so he's going to be stretching it. I'm not entirely sure of the fuel mileage with these cars. But the lap 8 is definitely early to pit.
And he's currently only 6 seconds behind Lewis Archer, just falling back just a little bit. So he is staying in contention to where if Archer does have an issue, Springer could jump on that spot, but then once again it does come back to that fuel mileage. Can he make it to the end and make this podium stick? Because right now, if he were to take another pit stop, it'd take him about 20 or so seconds, which would then drop him down to 7th position behind Alexander Shanna. So a big story to watch is this Chris Springer. Can he make it to the end, or will he have to make a pit stop?
And he's got pace over James Miller, who we thought would really be charging with that repaired front nose. But he's gapped him by about 2 seconds.
And that's got to be the less fuel weight in the car. You know what I mean? He may have less weight, which allows him to go just a little bit faster, which allows him to keep up with these guys. Be interesting to see. He's not really catching anybody, and he is just pulling on James Miller just a little bit.
I
Not a
believe he's
whole
catching
lot.
Lewis Archer. Last update, he was about 6 seconds. Now he's down to 4.7.
Yeah, that last lap, he was about 0.8 of a second faster than Archer. Lewis Archer might have had a little bit of mistake, because he's now almost 24 seconds behind Grabowski, so still losing time to the leader. Not sure if he is just kind of hanging in or if he's really trying to push. But right now, with as far as Grabowski is out front, I don't think Lewis has enough time to catch him anyway, even if he does push with everything he's got.
Yeah, you can't be taking the day off, though, because Spring will be right there on him. And not far behind him is James Miller, closing the gap a little bit.
Yeah, the battle for the podium spot will be on. Miller now 2.4 seconds, 2.3 seconds behind Springer, as it looks like Miller is catching Springer fairly quickly. 2.5 seconds now the gap. Not sure if Springer just had an issue or if Miller just had a great lap.
I think Miller is just turning it up. I think he's losing some weight from the fuel. His tires are coming in.
And there it is, the fastest lap of the race for James Miller. The first lap into the 22s, a 1:22.995. So James Miller definitely kicking it up a notch.
Yeah, he's not happy with P4, that's for sure. He's going to want to battle for P3.
And we're getting close to almost 10 laps to go. Currently 13 laps left in this race. Grabowski still out front by 23 seconds over Lewis Archer and Chris Springer.
And some of the chaos from earlier seems to have dissipated a bit. Everybody running their own race a little distance, but Don Day hoping to turn it on and catch Matt Turner for that last points position. He's about 1.3 behind him, but he's making headway. About 4/10 quicker last lap.
Let's see, take a look at Alexander Shanna. The Lumos Esports guys, they are outside of the top 5 of the constructor standings right now, looking to try to make some points up, with Miller in 4th and Shanna in 7th. So a good overall team performance currently for the Lumos guys. They are the only team with 2 drivers in the points. Actually, Matt Turner is in the points for the CUDA Works F2 team in 10th place. So definitely one of the better team drives currently right now for the Lumos guys.
Yeah, with the chaos we've had today, they're probably not going to be happy with it, but they'll take it.
And Don Day, your current points leader, trying to make up for a rough day and chase down Matt Turner. There you see the gap, just over a second, just now under a second as they come across the stripe. He's going to do everything he can to get that 1 point and take it away from Turner.
He's been about a half second faster the last 2 or 3 laps. And I believe something has happened to James Miller. He's fallen back a little bit from Chris Springer. About 8 seconds now is the gap.
Still seeing, looks about 4 seconds, 5 seconds. Oh yeah, a little bit falling in. Looks like our timing might be a little bit delayed. Not sure what happened with Miller. And there it is, a 1:27.876. So Miller had something happen there on that lap that lost him about 5 seconds on the field there.
Yeah, I see no note of incident, so he may have just locked it up and kept it on the track. But he definitely wasn't using DRS on that lap.
So Chris Springer is going to come across the stripe. Sorry, Steve Grabowski's going to come across the stripe. That's going to come to 11 laps to go. Lap 37 out of 47. Getting close to the single digits left in the race. And it looks like Don Day might actually get Matt Turner. Battle heating
looks like
up.
Alexander Shauna was really making some time on Caitlin Height, but he had it off track, lost a lot of time.
That was Alexander Shanna that I believe just passed us. So I believe with these guys, with him being behind Don Day, I believe that's going to put Alexander Shanna out of the points. Because he just got passed by Don Day and Matt Turner, and I believe those guys are battling for 10th and 11th on the lead lap. So
yeah, so he's
not sure why it's still showing him up in 7th place. Maybe these guys are actually a lap down, but I'm not seeing them a lap down over top of the leaders at the moment.
I know Shanna was making a run on Caitlin Height, closing the gap down to around a second. I looked away and he was back here where we see him now.
See what happened between him and Caitlin. Caitlin went off track just before Shanna did. So it looks like it was two totally separate incidents. Alexander Shanna gets a little too high and gets into that grass and spins her sideways.
You really want to push it and send it as hard as you can, but gets you dangerously close to that grass.
At least he didn't lose any spots with it. He lost some time, but he didn't actually lose any spots. So that's at least a good thing for Shanna there. Don Day still trying to take Matt Turner's spot from him. Turner doesn't want to give up that points position. Looks like Turner gets him a little bit out of turn number 1, but Don Day has got his toe, so anytime he gets in to some, straightaway, Don's got a little bit of an advantage. We'll see if he gets him here going into turn 7. Can he get up to his rear end? He's going to be there ready to make a move.
They both get through that corner real well. They needs a good exit.
Turner really fast through the second sector. And this could be potentially rough for Alexander Shanna. Currently running the 7th place right behind these guys, but if these guys get a little too heated and end up getting together, that could be a real problem with him being right here behind these guys. But it looks like Turner is actually going to start gapping Day.
They got a much better exit out of 13. It's one of the most important corners on the course as you lead into that straightaway.
Looks like Turner's going to actually pull his fastest lap of the day, and then he's going to spin out coming out of 1. So that's going to give the position to Don Day. Day moves back into the point, something that he definitely needs.
And if I'm looking at the timing right, I believe maybe Shanna is a lap ahead of Don Day.
And I believe that actually would be the case. It's not really looking at on the timing, but with him not losing his spot, Don Day locks up, loses it a little bit. The gap out front staying almost exactly the same between Grabowski and Archer. 22
Archer closes
seconds.
it up one lap and gives it back the next.
Oh, and Malaria gets by Springer. Not sure what happened there.
Springer had an
went
issue.
off track. This is the pass for third. Springer gets really loose. Oh, and he gets it into the wall a little bit. Luckily, his car gets a little straight. He's got some damage. But there goes Malaire by Springer for that third place and that last podium spot.
It's heartbreaker for Chris Springer making his first start in F2. Had a podium. Looked like he was trying to get around that lap car and just lost it. We have someone locking up here.
James Malaire coming into some lap traffic, and I have to work his way through. I believe that's Luis Collin and either Nick Marshall or Steve Bunting.
This is a race, I believe. Is this for position? I believe?
Yeah, it looks like Don Day catching Steve Bunting, which means that would have been Nicholas Marshall behind. Yeah, and Don Day going to try to make some moves and get a few more points.
I think he has pace for
This
position here, but
this battle has got to be making Shanna nervous, watching these guys battle in front of them as they get side by side across the stripe.
Yeah, you should have it here into the turn one.
And Shanna's going to try to follow him around. He's going to get by Bunting as well. So move
like
Don
Bunting
Day
eight.
up into 8th.
Got about 47 seconds to the next guy, so I think this is where Don Day may stay the rest of the race.
Grabowski still out front, maintaining the 23-second gap over Lewis Archer. Archer pulling away from James Malaire. Archer, he had some rough start at the beginning. I think if he wouldn't have had those problems at the beginning, I think he would have been right up here battling with Grabowski. Considering
Don Day
that
having trouble in the back.
Oh, Don Day is around.
That was a bad place for Steven Grabowski. He got lucky there. Don Day locked it up. It's not what you want to see as the leader with just a few laps left here.
Don Day right in front of Shanna. Just gets it loose, gets in the grass, tries to hold on, spins it out, tries to keep it going, and just, you can't get it. Almost pulled right out in front of your leader there. That definitely slowed up Bunting, up Grabowski just a little bit. But if you look at the interval, it didn't allow Lewis Archer to catch up one little bit. So Archer still being stuck 23 seconds back as we have 5 more laps to go here at Zandvoort. Steve Grabowski in the lead.
That may have been the most action Steven Grabowski has had all race. Probably the only time his heart rate got up.
That is for sure. He hasn't really had to do a lot of battling today. He's just been running his own race, hitting his own marks, and really just being the class of the field today.
We have Ivan Valkamp, P4, but I don't see that he's made another pit stop. So if we're right, I think he'll still have to serve that pass through. He's got a gap to where he might only lose a position if he served it. Or 2, maybe 2 positions.
It looks like he would lose 2 positions. He would go down to 6th place. Not sure if he thought he could serve it under caution, which in iRacing you're only allowed to serve drive-thrus under green flag conditions. You can't do them under caution. So if he thought he was going to be able to do it under caution, that might be the reason why we're having that issue. Caitlin Height getting by Chris Springer. Chris Springer almost losing it. Trying to do everything he can to hold on. Still hasn't pitted since lap 8. Them tires got to be going out, and you can see he's got some damage on that car. So literally just trying to hang on to the end of the race and get as many points as he can. You see he's having a little bit of a connection issue there.
We'll see if he pits here. He's got a little gap back to Shanna, so if he can pit, get the new tires, get the repair made, maybe he can stay in front of him. But as it is, Shanna may close up on him here at the end. Just a few laps left. I don't know if he can make up 28 seconds, but he's rapidly gaining.
So one thing I do want to point out that I'm noticing here is the 2 Orion cars, the 2 Orion entries are out of the race. Anton Knutson and Eli Cannon. So a really tough break for Orion, who is currently 3rd in the Constructors' points. They're not going to get any points today, and that is going to be a really, really tough break for them. You see Grabowski coming by, 3 more laps to go.
And he has set the best lap of the race.
And he did with a 1:22.733. He's like, give me that point as well. Took that away from James Molaire by almost 0.2 of a second.
He is certainly not coasting to the win.
No, he is putting everything into it. He's gained almost 3 seconds on Lewis Archer now. Molaire's gained about a half a second on Archer. Archer still putting on a great show in P number 2. Kind of running by himself at the moment. Had a rough start at the beginning of the race. Got into a little bit of contact with a couple cars, and now currently P2.
Came into this race with a lot of confidence. I believe he was last year's winner.
And actually, Alexander Shanna was last year's winner here in the F3. He was last week's winner, trying to get it done again as Don Day and Steve Bunting seem to be battling. Oh, Lewis Archer spins out! That's going to allow James Molaire to start catching up. Where is Molaire coming out of the corner right there? Molaire's now got 4.5 seconds to Lewis Archer.
Definitely closed the gap, but I don't think he has time to.
But that's also the thing. Archer just spun out and he heated up his tires. So now Archer has to be very careful with what he does to make sure he doesn't do it again. With only 2 more laps to go, all he's got to do is hold on to that number 2 spot, and he will pick up some great points for himself and his Crew Works team.
Matt Turner in trouble in the back again. Looks like he came back on.
Matt Turner having an issue. Here we see it in turn number 1. Just gets a little bit loose. Tries to get back on the throttle when he straightens it out, and it's already into the wall. So tough break for Matt Turner.
Tough day for him and the team. I believe his first race in the F2. So
the white flag is out for your leader, Steve Grabowski. Putting on a clinic for the iFormula League F2 series.
Malaire's closed the gap a little bit. But
3 seconds of gap between Molaire and Archer now.
You would need a mistake from Archer to close the gap.
And he comes through turn number 7. He's only got half the course to go. With a flawless late race, Steve Grabowski, he's got 33 seconds over second place Lewis Archer. His first entry into the iFormula League, his first entry into the F2 division. And he's going to come out of the final corner, and he is going to win the Zandvoort Grand Prix. What a run by Grabowski. Lewis Archer trying to hold on to that second position over James Miller. Made a mistake here last time, is flawless this time. Miller's 2.7 seconds back. You see him there. I don't think he's going to have enough time to do it. Lewis gets loose. He almost loses it. Coming into the second to last corner, Archer's going to come out. Lewis Archer going to come home in second place. James Miller coming home third. Ivan Baukamp, not sure if he served that penalty. We'll have to see what happens after the race, but he's going to come home currently fourth place on the racetrack. Caitlin Height coming across the line in fifth position. Great run for her.
Great first showing.
Chris Springer has not pit since lap 8. He's coming out of the corner. If he would not have made a couple mistakes, he could be racing and finishing podium. He's going to come out, and he is going to finish in sixth position. And that is our grid. Alexander Shanna is going to come home seventh. Luis Collin is going to come home eighth. And Shanna's going to take it to the pit road. Your winner, the number 1, Steve Grabowski. What a drive for this guy here. The first time.
Started
here.
pole, led every lap, fastest lap. Put on a show.
All right, there you have it, folks. 47 laps in the books here at Zandvoort. What a show it was. We're going to get through here, and we're going to start trying to get some interviews here and see who we've got ready for our top 3. And it was definitely a showing. We're going to see if we can't find our third place finisher, James Miller. James, this is Rob and Anthony up in the booth. Do you got me, buddy?
Hey, I got you.
Oh, hold on a second. You are really quiet. Let's get that fixed a minute. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Awesome. We have got you, James. A really, really tough race for you. It was a lot of back and forth. You know, there was a lot that went on in that race. You had a couple incidents. You got together with a few people. What was going on in your mind when all this was kind of happening?
You know, it was pretty evident that whoever could keep it clean was going to come out on top. You know, and that was sort of the game plan coming in. It went well. I got unlucky early. Got behind a couple people who tossed it. Got clipped from behind. I think it was Lewis early. And then finally tossed it myself. Dipped a wheel in some dirt and lost it. So it just was, you know, try to regroup and go back to the game plan. You know, overall, you know, 47 laps anywhere. It takes a lot out of you mentally, and a lot of the guys kind of showed their mental there, getting it done. So it's a great race, a lot of fun.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of action and a lot of stuff we really didn't expect to see. We actually seen a lot more incidents between just regular cars by themselves than we did actually cars together. Is this track that much of is it got more of a mental game to it, or is it more of just kind of getting in the rhythm and knowing what you got and just kind of holding on to it?
It's fast, you know. I don't think a lot of people were prepared for just how fast this track was. You know, it's one thing to run by yourself, but getting caught in traffic, there's not a whole lot of alternative lines to take. So when you start getting tight corners, people on your tail, and you're looking at your mirrors, things happen a lot faster than you think. So it just it throws a lot at you if you're not prepared. Luckily, Lumos Esports, we did a good job this week in preparing and kind of being ready for that. You know, I was, for the first time in a long time, I actually felt kind of race ready. You know, but it still takes some luck. You still gotta put down the laps. So, you know, we had a good week overall. I think Alex took some damage early on. Still was able to get points out of that, which is huge. And thankfully, I kept it clean for the laps that counted at the end there, and picked myself up a couple spots.
Yeah, and you almost had the fastest lap up until maybe 2 laps to go, and Steve really put on a lap with a 22.7. So you did have the fastest lap for the majority of the race. What was it like going back and forth through the field there? Do you have a favorite moment you want to discuss, or?
No, really, I think the highlight for me of the race was kind of Lewis and I. You know, I think we were fighting, jockeying for P2 early on. He got a little unlucky, coming in a little bit hot. Maybe I was a little slower than he thought, and tapped me a little bit. That sent him sideways. And then after I got myself sideways, we were jockeying back at, I think, fighting for P7 at one point. And then right at the end, I think I saw him lose it again, and here we are jockeying for P2 at the end of the race. So, you know, to me, that was sort of the best battle. We sort of kind of followed each other and went through the same stuff, and it was neat to see that, you know, that fight whenever you fall down the grid to be able to make your way back up to what feels like your rightful spot in a lot of ways, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating sometimes when you fall back and have to make your way back, but when you're able to do it, grab some points, a podium, it feels really good. Probably a lot of fun. We enjoyed watching it. Put on a good show for us.
All right, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. James Malaire, your P3 finishing driver, having a great show this afternoon, finishing in second place is the man, the myth, the legend, the F3 champion last year, our winner last week, Lewis Archer. Lewis, tough race today, man. You had some issues at the beginning. You got caught up into a lot of really rough racing, and really worked yourself back up to a second finishing position, which is something we've honestly seen you do quite often, is start, you know, with a rough start, and, you know, being in the back, and somehow you work your way up to a podium or even a win. How do you get that mental game going in, like, you know something's going to happen? How do you keep yourself from getting yourself down when you're back in 12th place, 10 seconds behind the leader on the first lap?
Oh yeah, it is a massive mental game. Like, you never ever give up. Sometimes it's hard, but yeah, I just I had to take a bit of evasive action there into James. I think it was turn 3. I just had to brake a little bit too hard. I didn't actually hit any grass or anything. I'm sorry if I tagged him. It didn't look like I tagged him, but I think I just braked far too hard. Pulled the arse of the car around, boom, and I don't know if it had a little bit of damage, but from there on, I just tried to do the pace that I had. Yeah, I mean, definitely couldn't catch Stephen there. That was a phenomenal win from him. The gap didn't get, I mean, I had a couple of little moments there. The gap wasn't too much over what it was when I got going again. So I think we would have had a good race if I'd have been up there. But he's definitely too good of a driver to catch after a blunder like that. That's for sure. Definitely going to have to go back and look at the rest of the races as to what happened. But no, I didn't expect to be finishing in P2, that's for sure.
Well, finishing in P2 is almost exactly what you needed. Being in round 3, we got a point series kicking off, and everybody's trying to get as many points as they can to start the season off. currently in the lead was Don Day and the Turning Point Racing team. And they actually had a really, really rough race today. Lewis Collin was running up in third and had a couple issues and ended up falling down to 8th place. So what does, I mean, with your teammate being gone, and you see a couple of these teams having a rough week, what does that mean for you going into the next couple of weeks, knowing that you got the pace, you've got everything, but you're just that little bit behind a team? Are you planning on making sure that you get points every week, or are you more trying to make sure that you're beating the teams that you need to beat to try to move up in points?
At this point, I mean, you can always talk about the title. At this point, I'm just. I wish I hadn't had the couple of rough starts that I had. I thought today after the safety car I was going to be all right, and got jumped by a couple of people on the start. I thought I'd just have that, but to end up at the back of the grid again, you just think that's 2 races now I've done that. So that, I know I come back to the win the first time. You can't redeem any more points than that. That's 100% redemption. Today, I maybe could have fought for the win if I was there with Stephen. I think it would have been a tight fight. Definitely had an answer for my pace at the end. I wasn't catching him. And he's now got a nice 26 points in the title. I'm now in the lead of the title with 44 points over Don Day's 39. But you're right, with Chris being gone, thank you, Matt, for stepping in. The opposition being fairly mixed does keep just that consistent podium. If you just keep on the podium. That's all I'm going to keep doing now. There's some fast guys here. I will do my best every week. And if a moment like that happens, you just grit down and just bury your boot and don't try to make any more mistakes. And P2 today, I'm super happy with P2, to be honest. There's only one step above that. And you could call that, this was certainly a recovery drive.
Well, it was definitely a race to watch. We were trying to watch to see if you were actually going to catch Grabowski there. When he took his pit stop, he was about 22 seconds ahead of you. And for most of the second half of the race, that gap stayed about the same. Were you at a point where you were just pushing, or did you get to a point in this race where you're just like, you know what, this is as best as I'm going to do. I'm just going to kind of run my line and kind of hope that the leader makes a mistake?
That's it. I kept my eye on the times. I mean, there was points where for a few 5-6 laps I would just turn all relatives off, and you just go as fast as you can, see what sort of a dent you made. I look back at the times, and they'd be the same, and that it doesn't dishearten you, because I was constant pressure from behind. Chris Springer was giving me some mega heat. He managed to make a mistake. We were a few 3 seconds apart from a good chunk of laps there, but no, my eyes were set forward. And when your pace stagnates like that with the leader and you can't get to that gap, do you know what I mean? You wonder if that's the limit, and you just keep plugging in those laps, and that's it. That time that I lost at the start of the race, I just definitely didn't make back on Stephen there. So again, great racing with him. I wish I was up there. I'd have loved to have had a race. He's in the next one, and we can move on. But looking back, looking forward. In the end, wasn't really anyone to fight with.
You want to win them all, but have to be happy with a P2 in this case, don't you? After
Definitely.
the race you've had, so.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, putting points on the board for yourself and for your constructors, making yourself that top contender for the title at the moment. Finishing second, Lewis Archer having a great race today. We'll see what he can do next week in round number 4. And that is going to be the end for us, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look here, and we will show you the current race results that we had. Steve Grabowski going to be taking a win over Lewis Archer. James Miller and that Lumos Esports machine coming in third over Ivan Baukamp, who had a really bad punishment from a race before and still comes back to finish in the top half of the points in fourth position for that Cuda Evo F2 team. So great performance out of Ivan Baukamp. Caitlin Height, her first race here in the IFL and in the F2 series, comes home a respectable 5th place. Chris Springer with that gutsy fuel mileage call, pitting on lap 8, just can't get it done and finishes in 6th. Alexander Shanna in 7th with Luis Collin in 8th. Don Day running in 9th. And Steve Bunting taking home the last point spot in 10th position. For everybody here at the iFormula League, we want to thank you guys for coming out and joining us here. We really do appreciate all the love and support that you guys give us. And we will see you guys next week we'll see you guys tomorrow when the F3 series comes to go racing here. Make sure you tune in at 3:45. But next week we go to Barcelona for the F2 drivers, and we will have a whole new mix of drivers for that race. So make sure you stay tuned. We want to give a big thanks to our good sponsor, Butt Kicker. They do a lot for us and take care of us. So until next time, I'm Rob Slider alongside Anthony Wallace, and we will see you next time.